The Mid-America Veterans Museum is a 501c3 nonprofit business. Your donations serve to further the museum's mission of sharing and preserving the stories of our veterans. To donate, visit mavm.org and click on Donate. The content covered in this podcast is for general informational, historical, and educational purposes only. Discussions about historical events, military service, personal experiences, or sensitive topics are presented for educational and archival purposes. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the host and/or guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy or endorsement of the Mid-America Veterans Museum. Neither the organization, host, director, nor the guest shall at any time be liable for the content covered, causing offense, distress, or any other reaction.
Welcome to the Operation Insight podcast from the Mid-America Veterans Museum with your host, Jason Galvin and Sergeant Ethan Gross. Welcome back, family. We are really excited to have our two guests in the studio with us today. I'm really excited to have this organization on with us today. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Sure. Whenever we can have the opportunity to highlight the work and dedication of a veteran organization, we want to be able to do that. And that especially goes for the organization we're interviewing tonight, and that is the St. Louis chapter of Team River Runner, which facilitates paddle sports and paddle activities, aquatic sports for the greater St. Louis metro area. And we are fortunate enough to be joined by the co-coordinators of the St. Louis chapter, and that is Sally Haywood and John Lawrence. And I want to make a note, John is an Army veteran. He served from March 2007 until December of 2012. And do you still go by Top?
No.
I saw that on the site, and I was like, okay, he's got. I think that you called it your river name?
Yes,
okay.
We all have river names.
Okay.
River nicknames. So,
So Sally, what's yours?
Bait, which
Bait.
is
Oh, gosh.
badass in training.
Oh, my God. There we go. That's
nice.
great.
I like it.
That's nice. I love it.
That's fantastic. And then, John, I saw that you affectionately call your kayak El Jefe.
Yes.
What's the significance of that?
Well, that's the actual name of the kayak. It's Liquid Logic El Jefe.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Okay.
The model.
Sally, do you have a name for yours?
The pity is I've got 7.
Oh, wow.
So,
7 children. How are you going to remember all their names?
yeah.
They get jealous, too.
Which is the favorite?
It's an RPM, which is old school, and it's a dagger boat, and it stands for Radical Play Machine.
I love these acronyms. Thank you, Sally, for this.
Very military.
The bait one, I'm still cracking up over that.
A dear friend named me.
That's great. Well, so Sally joined the St. Louis chapter in 2013, and John was only 2 years later, 2015. And another thing we're going to discuss later is John is actually a graduate of TRR's on-the-job training program. Another thing I wanted to mention that you all should be very proud of, and I'm sure you are, the St. Louis chapter of TRR received the Golden Paddle Award in 2024. And in fact, they were one of only 4 chapters in the Midwest region to receive that prestigious award. Part of the way that you receive the paddle award, if I understand correctly, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but there's a few qualifications. You have to attract at least 15 veterans who are participating on a frequent basis. You have to host at least 25 sessions, and you have to host a safety stand-down meeting. Is all that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on that accomplishment. Have they announced for 2025 yet?
Yes, and we did.
You did it again.
2025.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
back to back.
That's fantastic.
I mean, not to be unhumble, but we get it almost every year.
Okay.
It's no big deal to bait.
Yeah. They're the champions.
Well, I love it. You guys are obviously doing great work, and we applaud you guys for what you do in the community.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to make a special note. I mentioned it briefly, but the St. Louis chapter services veterans throughout the metro area. So whether or not you live in Missouri, St. Louis, if you live on the other side of the Mississippi River, you're welcome to participate in their activities and be part of their community. So the other chapters in Missouri specifically, and some of the folks that you guys beat out for that Golden Paddle Award, Branson has a chapter, Southeast Missouri has a chapter, and Columbia has a chapter as well. But you guys are the best of the best, obviously. So a few things about TRR, and then I'll ask for you guys to kind of give me your general overview of the organization. But part of their mission is to provide all veterans and their families an opportunity to find health, healing, community, purpose, and new challenges. We'll talk about that later with John. New challenges through adventure and adaptive paddle sports. And their values as an organization are lifestyle, inclusiveness, purpose, and generosity. And I think we stand for all those things. I think I can speak for Jason when I say that.
100%.
We stand behind all of those values and that mission statement. I'll say one last thing, and I'll get over to our guest. TRR, the national organization, was founded in 2004. What I found interesting about this is it was founded by veterans from the Walter Reed VA Hospital, officially the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. But they founded it as a way to help veterans who were going through physical ailments and other disabilities, for them to kind of open up their minds and open up the opportunities for them to start healing in that healing process. So after all of that, we'll start with Sally, and because then we're going to get into John's story. So Sally, give us an overview from your perspective as one of the co-coordinators. You've been with the organization since 2013. Tell us about the value of participating in and being part of TRR in St. Louis.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us here. We really appreciate getting the chance to brag about what we think has been life-changing for a lot of veterans and civilian volunteers. And the origin of TRR was really in D.C. with a veteran and a civilian pair who wanted to serve combat veterans who were returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, many with their bodies quite changed. And they said with some adaptations, we can help people enjoy paddle sports. So they took boats to a swimming pool, started inventing adaptations, and partnered with a company, grew out of that, creating ability. And we've learned a lot. John and I have received training through Team River Runner, and I am impressed that I think we can help almost anybody get in a boat. When I very first started volunteering with Team River Runner, it was at the pool at Jefferson Barracks Recreational Therapy Department, and I was there steadily for 2 years. John has been there steadily and he'll talk about that. But people who had new amputations and were trying to grow accustomed to their bodies and trying different sports and different outlets. As a volunteer, I'd go to I just loved paddle sports. And I've had my own trauma, not through military service, but other aspects of life. And paddle sports have been profoundly healing for me. And I wanted to share that. And Team River Runner was structured in such a way that it enabled me to share that passion. So a point about how we are structured is there's about 5 staff at the national level who work on things like insurance and fundraising and facilitating how we do grant writing. All the other people, hundreds of volunteers throughout the country, are just doing this out of their own commitment. Yeah. There are about 48 chapters across the country. You can check the website, and if you have friends or family and want to encourage them to get engaged, there's lots of places. They all vary in emphasis, how big they are, how active they are, whether it's lakes, float streams, big rivers like the Mississippi, or really busy whitewater. Yeah. A story as a volunteer. I remember going to a pool, and I'd made a relationship with this man who had a new amputation. And for him to come to the pool, it was the first time he'd ever let anybody see his body in a swimsuit post-procedure. Yeah. And it was hard. And he started, being in the pool, swimming, paddling. And then we tried to move out of. In paddle sports, there's the therapeutic environment of rec therapy, and that's a beautiful partnership we have with Jefferson Barracks Hospital. But then we get into adaptive community-based paddling. So that's where the VA staff help bring their clients to be with our volunteer participants in the community. So we were going to a lake. At that point, it was Simpson Lake. And it was the first time he had driven his car without his spouse. He wore his prosthetic to the boat, and then he took it off, and he entrusted me to put his very fancy prosthetic back in his car. And I was kind of grumpy that day. I think I'd had a fuss with my spouse. I didn't necessarily want to be there. And I got in a boat because he was there, and he wanted to be there. And we took off in the lake and saw eagles and egrets, and he paddled fast and he paddled slow, and he turned to me and he said, "I haven't felt this much freedom since I was in my 20s and rode a motorcycle."
Amazing.
And then I saw his wife like a week later, and she hugged me and she says, "He was really depressed and having suicidal ideation, and being in this community has given him a place to belong and move through this transition in life." And I said, "Well, no, thank you. His enthusiasm, is a gift to me." So that's one story.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it brings up a point about what makes aquatic sports and paddle sports unique. And I hadn't thought about it until you told us that story, Sally. There's a certain vulnerability when you're in the water. I mean, you mentioned it, just the clothing is different. If you're going jogging, if you're playing some kind of baseball, football, hockey, whatever it is, you can be padded down in clothes and no one's going to say anything. It looks fairly normal. You can't jump into a pool fully clothed and not have somebody ask, like, "What are you doing?" So there is that vulnerability of your body is going to show. And especially for an amputee, you're not hiding anything in the pool. And so I think that's got to be scary, obviously, at first. But then once they accept it and once they see that no one's making a big deal about it, it's probably a really relieving feeling that they have. That is part of the adaptive clinic series that TRR runs. Is that right? Amputees, blind participants?
Yeah, folks with visual impairment. I always see it as a continuum, and I said the therapeutic environment, and John can speak to this because he's in the pool every week with the rec therapy staff. They have expertise in adaptations and exposing folks to many, many opportunities in sports, but they don't necessarily have the expertise in any one of those sports.
Gotcha.
So previously me, now John, as a kayak instructor, comes in and partners and provides the kayak instruction with their therapeutic partnership.
Okay.
And then when we go together to a lake or float streams, it's a partnership in transitioning out of a therapeutic environment into a community-based. Yeah. And then within Team River Runner, we have adaptive equipment, adaptive skills to do adaptations, and we don't recruit just from the hospital.
Sure.
So if your friend who's a veteran needs an adaptation and they call, we'll just meet at the lake and put some gear together. And then there are, at the national level, a Team River Runner structure a little bit. there are 48 chapters across the country. They all vary in size and activities that they undertake. And then at the national level, they have clinics, which are really paddling opportunities. So one, you might go to an adaptive clinic where most people are showing up in need of some kind of, we have a pivot paddle if somebody has one side weakness or an arm amputation.
Like learning aids, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And so that would be an adaptive clinic.
Gotcha.
So how the adaptations happen is, like, every time we go out, we would support somebody and adjust things. Or there are national paddling activities with various purposes. It could be an adaptive clinic. It could be a women's clinic. It could be an affinity clinic, which is targeted to people of color.
Gotcha. So it sounds like, specifically for the St. Louis chapter, it's a very crawl, walk, run method in terms of the adaptive paddling.
Or for anyone.
For anyone.
Yeah, if you've never been in a boat,
there's going to be a learning
we'll
period.
Do crawl, walk, run.
Yeah.
Kayaks are difficult for me.
Yeah.
The balancing in a kayak. Yeah. I love kayaking personally.
I like sea kayaks. They're my favorite.
Another thing I wanted to say, I want to give you guys another shout out, because we are okay with shameless plugs here. Please bring them on. You all have one of the best portals for your chapter of all the chapters that I went through the map and clicked on a few, and your portal has the most information that I saw.
Oh, good.
Easily amongst the other chapters in Missouri, and I clicked on a few others as well. Both of your names are on there as co-coordinators. There's a link to the Facebook page, so I just want to commend you for setting up that website so well. And obviously you have that Facebook page as well where a lot of information is contained. Sally, thank you for giving us that overview and also that poignant story about that veteran that you helped.
Wonderful story.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. And when I was talking about the activities at the national level, then we divide the country into, I think it's 7 regions. So we are the central region, so we have a regional events, and then we have chapter events. So normally the crawl, walk, run is, it's also get involved locally, and then in your region, and then apply to be considered for one of the national clinics is the normal path.
Is it mainly recreational or is it competitive as well?
Kayak football is something Team River Runner really invented. I've never played. John has played.
It's pretty fun.
And there are a couple races that Team River Runner sponsors that are usually fundraisers. There's
the biathlon.
Nice. Oh, yeah, there we go. We got some merch.
And there's a chaotic kayak race, which some businesses and organizations in St. John, Virgin Island have just taken a love to Team River Runner, and they've sponsored this race, and it's grown and grown, and they raise money.
That was the chaotic kayak race. I love the
Does
sound
the
of that.
equipment come from the fundraising, or does each individual person buy their own kayak, or how does that work?
We aim to have absolutely everything free for the veterans. So our fundraising efforts are, we have to purchase boats and paddles and life jackets, and if you do class 2 or more, water helmets, safety kits, and first aid gear. St. Louis purchased a van, and we have to maintain it and put gas in it, and we have a trailer, and so we try and make it so the veterans and their family members can just show up.
John, I want to get to you, and I want to talk about your service, both within TRR, but also within our United States Army. So let's give a little bit of background for both Jason and I and our audience. Tell us what was going on in February of 2007, right before.
February 2007, I was in college.
Okay. Where'd you attend?
I was in Sanford Brown attending business school, and I wasn't satisfied. I was like, this isn't challenging enough. I don't like my environment that I'm in, and I want to serve. A lot of people in my family have served, and it's my time.
Tell us about those family members.
My father met my mother in Panama, and I was born in Fort McCullough. My older sister, she served as well in the Army. I have a bunch of different family members.
So a long legacy.
Yes. Yeah.
So you sort of felt a combination of it's my time, but also something doesn't feel right
Yes.
in life right now. I want to do something more.
Yes.
So tell us about the process of joining the Army.
Ooh, the process, it was pretty interesting. I went down and did the ASVAB with my recruiter, and then went to MEPS and picked my job out.
What did you choose?
88 November, Transportation Management Coordinator.
Very good.
So I worked in logistics. That was pretty cool. I had a pretty cool time doing that.
What was the conversation like with your family when they knew you were going to join?
My father was very proud of me.
Yeah.
He had wanted me to do that ever since high school was over. So
What was your dad's military career like?
he really didn't discuss it a lot with me. I think it was relatively short. I think he just did his first term of enlistment for 4 years. He was an MP while he was in. He doesn't really discuss it a lot.
So I'm hoping since he was an MP, he didn't meet your mom as he was attempting to arrest her or something.
No, he said he met her in a DFAC.
Okay, very good. Okay, a lot better. So your mother served as well.
No, she just was like a civilian working.
Yeah. I gotcha. And in Panama.
Yes.
That's really cool, of all places.
That
How
is
about
pretty
that?
cool.
And you said Fort McCullough?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Tell us where your basic training was located.
Fort Jackson.
Very good.
South
Relaxing
Carolina.
Jackson.
Yep.
We have that in common. South
Right.
Carolina. How'd you enjoy it?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging aspect of basic training for you?
It was a mental thing more than anything.
Yeah.
I would say I found it mentally challenging, but once I understood that it was a mental game,
Yeah.
more than a physical thing, I was able to excel.
I felt the same way. And I think the sooner you can understand that, I mean, you said mental game, that's really what it is. They're trying to tear you down.
Yes.
Where was AIT located for 88
Fort
November?
Eustis.
Eustis. Okay,
Yep.
Virginia, right?
Yes.
How was that?
Rainy at night. It was weird because it was like it would rain only at night sometimes. So as soon as the sun would go down, it would start raining for like about 30 minutes, and then it would be over.
How strange.
Like, how does that happen?
Where was your first duty station?
Camp Carroll, Korea?
My gosh.
Yes.
How long were you there?
1 year.
So a 1 year station there. Okay.
Yes.
What was it like to be in Korea?
It was very different. The culture, it was a big culture shock. Back then, being a single person, first time out of the country, it was very difficult.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
What city is that near? I'm not familiar with that base. Is it near Seoul?
Daegu.
Is that on the southern side of South Korea?
Yes.
Okay. I have a sister-in-law that's from Gwangju, which is on the southern coast. Mm-hmm. So that's just basically landlocked, that area.
Yes.
Did you get out into the town very much, into the society?
Yes, I did. Yes.
What do you think about kimchi?
So I had a Katusa. Funny story. And if you don't know what a Katusa is an Korean national that has to serve in their version of the Army, but has to be in a joint room with an American soldier because
I have never
English.
heard of this before.
Yes.
This is fascinating.
This is a brand new
Katusa.
concept for me.
Never heard of this. Katusa, okay.
So my roommate, Kim, very cool guy. He was younger than me at the time, and he had the chance to go home every weekend, and he would come back
with buckets of kimchi.
No, just smelling like kimchi.
Oh yeah, even worse.
Through the whole,
even worse, the
through
smell.
The whole room. He would be laughing and eating it in the room. And back then, I was new to international food, so I didn't understand the flavor profiles of it.
I love that description.
And
Flavor
I wasn't
profiles.
accustomed. I had to grow into liking it. So
You ended up liking it then.
yes.
Hey, you're a better man than me.
Oh, I love kimchi, especially like on a bratwurst.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
man.
basically like sauerkraut, I guess, just worse.
And there are different versions of kimchi too. So,
Different versions of it.
yes.
Now I got to know what are the different versions.
You have like an anchovy version. You have the cabbage version. You have like a spring green version.
That one doesn't sound too bad.
Tofu version.
See, I only know the cabbage version.
The anchovy version. I can't even imagine what that smells like. Was he bringing that to the room?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And for him, it wasn't anything new.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
That could definitely put a test to the roommate relationship.
Yes. Yes.
So that is called the katusa.
Yes.
We've never heard of that. No one, and we've interviewed a few people that have been to Korea for their station duty.
Now, was he there for a year with you? Was it a whole year together?
Yes.
You still keep in contact with this guy?
On Facebook. Yes.
Nice.
It's really cool.
I like that.
Well, that's a really fun perspective because the service members we've had who were stationed in Korea, they would tell us about leaving base or leaving posts and then mingling with the people outside of the gates. You had a Korean person in your room with you.
Yeah.
What can you recall about the first conversations you and Kim had? Was there sort of that period of sort of figuring and sizing him up and kind of understanding what's this going to be like, or did you guys become friendly pretty quickly?
We came friendly pretty quickly. He was really timid because he didn't know English very good.
Yeah.
And since that was his secondary language, he just did more learning than anything, which was a good thing. And he was a very humble guy and a really cool guy.
So 1 year in Korea,
Yeah.
made a lifelong friendship.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Where did you go next after that?
Fort Irwin, California.
My gosh. They got you going all over creation.
Yes.
Yeah, you went from coast to coast, international.
Yeah.
They wasn't playing with you.
So I'm going to do a little spitballing here. So Fort Irwin, if I remember correctly, is home to the NTC.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
So I'm curious, why did they have you there? Were you helping with soldiers who were about to deploy?
I was a red hat. So my job there was everybody coming on post, doing training and stuff like that. I had to arrange their travel.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
there and back.
Gotcha.
Back home.
So you're very familiar with DTS.
Somewhat. Yeah.
He's being modest. How long were you at Fort Irwin?
2.5 years.
2.5 years, so a little bit longer than Korea.
Yep.
Fort Irwin, I think, is a really interesting location because, first of all, it's in the desert, literal desert, but also it's fairly equally in between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. Did you get to visit very much that area while you were there?
Yes, I did. We I got to do a lot of our re-enlistments for our company in Las Vegas at the Stratosphere.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
That's awesome.
And also, like a lot of our company, like meetings and stuff like that, we would just take turns going to different places.
That's awesome.
LA and San Diego.
How did you find living at Irwin? Was that kind of an isolating feeling given its location?
Very much so.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Very much so.
Did you form friendships there?
Yes, I did.
Tell us about some of the friendships that you made while you were there. Were these people within your unit or just anybody and everybody?
Mostly within my unit.
Okay.
My unit was pretty tight-knit, and we kind of stay in touch together still today,
Yeah.
a lot of us. And, so if you've never been to Fort Irwin, like you said, it's in the middle of the desert, and you have to travel, well, at least then, you have to travel 34 miles just to get to the highway.
Oh, my gosh.
So there wasn't a lot around and a lot of people to hang out with. So me and my battle buddies became the best of friends at that time. And we just used to do a lot of things on base, race cars and, race gators around.
Nice.
Unit site and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So 2.5 years at Irwin.
Yep.
That's so crazy. Where'd you go after Irwin?
I went to Fort Drum.
I love Fort Drum. It's one of my favorite places in the world. Upstate New York is beautiful, man.
It's beautiful, but talk about the weather changes they put John through.
Have you ever been in Fort Drummond or in that area in the fall?
I've been in the Buffalo area.
In the fall? It's the best time of year, man.
Really?
Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I'm still in John's thunder.
Just wait a few months and it gets terrible.
I love Fort Drum. Go ahead.
How long were you at Fort Drum, John?
2 years.
Did you enjoy it?
There
we go.
It had its ups and downs.
Well, I was a kid when I was there, so that might make a difference. I wasn't there. I was visiting.
How much piling of snow did you do and shoveling?
So much.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So much.
I was never there in the winter.
Too many whiteout condition days.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would shut down the whole post, wouldn't it?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not every time, though.
They would kind of just power through it.
Yep.
So that was 2 years, you said?
Yes.
And so at this point in time, well, I should have asked, what rank did you enter the Army as?
A PFC.
And so at this point in time, Fort Drum, what rank have you achieved?
Sergeant.
Okay, fantastic. That's a good progression. So your responsibilities had started to build up.
Yes, that's correct.
Were you still enjoying the Army at that point?
No.
Why is that?
I was going through some numerous health conditions, and they weren't being addressed properly.
Hope you don't mind, but I think this is an important thing to address, especially with us talking about, adaptive aquatic sports, paddle sports. Tell us, if you wouldn't mind, the process of trying to get help and trying to seek treatment for those ailments and the struggles of that.
That process was pretty daunting. Just having to seek help for myself, I was ridiculed, sometimes called a sick call ranger. But what am I supposed to do if I couldn't?
It sounds like it was a matter of people not believing you.
Yes, and I guess they just didn't understand the breadth of my situation. Yeah. I wouldn't say that they didn't believe me, because sometimes they would see
the actual effects of it.
Yes. So I guess they just didn't understand the extent of it.
That is, I'd be curious of your opinion on this, John. That is something we've heard from other guests before.
Yeah, for sure.
There is a culture in the military in general, not just the Army, of push through the pain, no matter what.
Yes.
And in the long run, that only makes it worse.
Yes.
I mean, we all know you have to address issues like that before they get worse on your body and your mental health. When do those issues finally get resolved? Or did they ever get resolved while you were still in service?
They didn't. They're
really
still ongoing, but
yeah.
I'm finding better tools to manage.
Yeah.
And TRR is one of my tools.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that it wasn't addressed properly while you were still in.
Thank you.
So after Fort Drum, was that the end of your service, or was there a little bit more after that?
Fort Drum was the end.
That was the end of it.
Yes.
So, since that's the end of your service and the end of that part of your story, was the fact that you weren't getting the help that you needed health-wise the biggest factor in getting out, or were there other factors in your life?
There were a couple of other factors, but that was the main thing.
That was the main thing.
Yes.
And so you ETS as a sergeant, E5?
Yes.
Okay, very good. What do you miss about the Army?
I like the brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss my battle buddies.
Yeah.
I miss the challenges. I miss sergeant's time training.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss rucks.
What did you enjoy about sergeant's time?
Oh, man. Just learning new things.
Yeah.
And just the way some of the NCOs in my unit would just find ways to teach new subjects and keep us engaged.
Did you feel as though you were well equipped as a sergeant to train your soldiers?
Definitely.
Good. Did a lot of that come from just your own personal drive, or you felt supported in terms of your NCO staff?
At that time, I felt like a subject matter expert.
That's awesome. In logistics?
Yes. Yes.
Well, now this makes perfect sense why you're kicking butt at TRR.
That's what
fantastic.
I said. Yeah, for sure, man.
I mean, with Team River Runner, no, this is a team. So I
Yeah.
have great support, like Sally. So it's like I have a lot of great initiative within myself. But
Yeah.
then with this, I have a lot of great support.
Yeah,
I can say that.
That's fantastic to hear, John. Thanks for sharing your service experience. So that was
You're welcome.
March 2007 to December 2012. You mentioned your sister also served.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about her and her service?
Oh, well, she served significantly longer than I did. I think she did 15 years altogether. She retired as a staff sergeant with a couple of injuries, and now she just lives the good life. Yeah.
So December 2012 is your ETS, and I'm looking at the dates here. I'm doing the math. It wasn't until 2015 that you joined with TRR. Tell us, if you would, about that in-between time.
So I was doing a little finding myself. I started actually kayaking in 2013 when I went down to Florida, and I found myself in front of some gators, and I said, you know what, this is not the best place to be learning kayaking.
Let's find a nice pool somewhere without the wildlife.
I made my way back to St. Louis, and I tried to pick it up around the community with myself, and I worked my way into the pool one day and met John Smink down there, our local recreational therapist, and here I am.
What drew you to kayaking initially?
I always wanted to learn how to kayak. I just never had the opportunity.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Must be those Panamanian roots or something coming out, and you wanted to be near the sea.
Yeah. and I'm adventurous too.
So 2015, you joined TRR. Tell us about the process of becoming a member of TRR and becoming part of their team.
Okay, so at that time when I joined, the process for the veteran was you started at the pool and you had to do 6 pool sessions before you had the opportunity to go out in the community and do a float. And once I did the first float out of the community, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is great! I don't have to deal with the hustle and bustle of being in the city.
Yeah.
The weather's great. It smells great out here. Beautiful birds in the air.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's great. Like I found wellness doing it. So like I fell in love the first time. Yeah.
That brings up a great point. You give me a great transition. I just want to make a note here. I read an article from 2023 from the We Are Mighty publication. And within the article, the author had made a few notes that I wanted to bring up, and we can talk about it if you guys would like. But a few of the benefits of paddle sports and aquatic sports. First, as John just referenced, there's that feeling of escape. And you get to be part of nature, and you get to find tranquility and peace in nature. And there's the therapeutic experience of being in the water. And there's also the experience of having activity and having exercise and the exhilaration of being out in the water and paddling. There's also those moments of levity and there's those moments of fun, whether it's that you flipped over or you're having issues with your balance, things like that can bring some levity to a situation. Another one that I wanted to mention, and I feel might be the most important, people like John served their time. He was in situations like Korea, Fort Irwin, Fort Drum. He was taken to all across the globe in service to our country and protecting our freedoms as Americans. And so this author of this article had mentioned, isn't it perfect that those veterans who have fought for our freedoms and protected our freedoms now get to enjoy the freedom of outdoor sports and being in nature and doing things like kayaking. So I really appreciated that veteran's perspective about paddle sports. So thank you, John, for going through that process. Has that process changed at all since you joined in terms of becoming a member of TRR? Still the 6 pool sessions?
It's still the 6 pool sessions,
Okay.
but we have other avenues for you to be a member.
Would you mind going through some of those?
We welcome participants from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The pathway that he described is our partnership with the Jefferson Barracks VA Hospital, which
Gotcha.
is an amazing way for many veterans to get exposed to kayaking and gain some skills to the point that they would feel comfortable. I mean, John teaches people who've never been in a pool, never been in water, they don't swim, and so helping somebody be comfortable trusting their life jacket or just being in the pool.
Sure.
But that there's no one way to enter. That is one path.
Gotcha.
But another path could be you call John or me and say, I'm curious about it. And we could say, well, come watch.
Yeah.
Or we have both been in a tandem boat. Say you don't have the skills, but we're doing a river run. Why don't you be in the front and we'll guide you,
Sure.
and you'll be a part of the community and you'll be in nature. So just call. If you're uncertain, just come watch.
Yeah.
Or we usually after a paddle go for lunch. Just go to lunch with us and see if we look like people
Sort
you
of
might
feel
feel
it out.
safe with. Yeah.
This might be a good opportunity to mention a program that I believe was highly successful, and we talked a little bit about this before we hit record, but the Kayak with a Veteran program with one of the local Elks Lodges. Would either of you tell us about that program and the success of that, and maybe a success story from that program?
I want to remember the Elks Lodge number. I think it's 9. Do you think it's 9? Okay, so Elks Lodge 9 was, I don't know the backstory of how they, I do know the backstory. There was one person who was very involved in the Elks Lodge, and his wellness and healing path was he paddled a lot, and he often paddled by himself. Part of, you talk about the benefits of paddling, when we teach safety, we say you should always paddle in a minimum of 3s. So if I'm injured, you can stay with me and John can go get help.
Sure.
But this man, is part of his process. He paddled a lot. And he would go back and talk to the Elks about how healing it was. And he got a few of his colleagues interested, and then he was the one who spearheaded a Paddle with a Vet. So it was at Creve Coeur Lake, and it went on, I think, a good 7 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Where they would recruit people, and we would bring the boats and the instruction and give people a one-shot experience of being in a boat. And say, if you would like to do this more, here is our website, our Facebook page. You have to sign our waiver. We're going to email you now and let you know of upcoming events.
Sure. Yeah.
Often we'd make a phone call and said, thank you for coming. What questions do you have? Because it takes something to hear of an organization and then to consider if this is a group for me or if this is an activity for me. Yeah. So that's part of what being a volunteer or coordinating volunteers is. How do we make it safe enough, welcoming enough, inclusive enough, have enough diversity in our participants so somebody can show up and say, yeah, folks look familiar.
You want the representation piece.
Right.
Yeah. And you're right, what you said. I've had that thought actually recently, Sally, so it's funny you mentioned that. It does take a lot, especially for older veterans, to hear of a program or an activity, make that consideration of if they feel it's worth their time, and also make that consideration of, will I feel comfortable doing that? And then for them to actually take that step of going to that event or activity. It takes a lot of courage for some people. Mm-hmm. Not everybody is a people person, as we know. And so especially for those individuals who might be a little bit more private or not as inclined to go to a group activity like that, it takes a lot of courage for individuals.
It's you made me think of a participant we had at a we call them clinics, where we set up lodging and we organize activities for multiple days. Sometimes the water we want to paddle or the river is far enough away. We have to sleep over somewhere. So another chapter is in Southern Illinois, based in Carbondale, and that chapter organized a weekend clinic, and I was there and helping with the on water. And they had recruited a participant, and he was kind of on the margins. He participated, but didn't talk a lot. And then we kind of did closing circle, what was a highlight. And I never forgot, he says, I am mostly shut in my house, and I don't normally like people. And I realized that after a weekend of being with you, I don't hate any of you.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
That's great.
And there's some healing in that too, because isolation is very troubling sometimes, even if you don't realize it. And one kind of similar thing is they say that kind of a hug does a lot of different things to the physiological part of you, but so does being with people, especially people that are like you and have similar experiences.
We have national policies about. There's a lot of isolation among our veteran participants, a lot of suicidal ideation, a lot of substance use and abuse, and so we really, in pursuing health and healing, want people to have a chance to connect, to exchange their stories about whatever, not in the hard bits of life. It's just whatever being with people, conversing, learning to trust new people, be in new settings. Yeah. And we really hold solid to substance use policies. Our national policy is some events are nothing. Mm-hmm. We will not use substances on this event. Others, if substances are allowed, it's up to 2 alcoholic beverages after the boats are put away.
Yeah.
Absolutely not on the water.
Have to be responsible.
And we're trying to make a safe, sober, clean environment for anybody who's pursuing recovery, and we need it to be safe.
Yeah.
That's a great segue to another plug I want to make, because this is one of our favorite people. Lenore Branch, as you know, Sally, runs the Sisters in Service of Greater St. Louis. They had their inaugural, which this is something we talked about in her episode last year, they had their inaugural Pivot with Purpose retreat. Sally was part of that. TR was part of that. My wife was one of the attendees and had a glowing review of Sally's involvement and getting out in the water with the kayak, and absolutely loved it. And so we want to give a shout out to Lenore and the work that she's doing with Sisters in Service.
Can I say something about that weekend?
Please.
An astounding group of leaders that Sisters in Service recruited for their leadership development. But another colleague a volunteer from Team River Runner, H.D. Key, and I brought the boats. We did the safety talk. We organized. There were a couple people who were terrified to be in a boat on a lake. And I want to commend, I was went off with the group and HD hung with this one woman, and she waded out in the lake and was holding on to the front handle, not because she needed, the participant needed that much contact to feel safe.
Sure, the security.
And then she says, shall I let go now? And then the participant, she was paddling, and she turned around and she said, take my picture. My family's not going to believe this. And she was thrilled with herself. That's amazing. That's what I mean by challenge by choice. Yeah. Somebody else was saying, well, how on edge how tight can I do a turn? What can I do with this? Yeah. And then we started doing a little kayak football, and there was another woman who, was pushing the limits and, had an out-of-boat experience, as we say.
That's great.
And I said, great, thank you for demonstrating. Now we're going to demonstrate on lake, center of the lake re-entry into your boat. And she says, all right, I'm game.
That's great.
So it was... the spectrum of supporting people to have experiences that they feel proud about.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the vulnerability piece of it is a healing piece in itself, because you get to open up and be and do things that you normally don't do, and maybe not who you normally are in that scenario. And in it, just that story you just told, it just, every person had a different limit,
Right.
and a different vulnerability that they were comfortable with, but you guys helped them bring that out. And I'm sure they would all say in their own way they had a wonderful time. Right? So I really love that story.
I want to mention, because Jason just referenced the physiological effects of whether it's exercise or personal physical touch or being amongst other people. There's multiple studies. The study that I focused on was from Frontiers in Psychiatry. Exercise has been proven over and over again to have a variety of health benefits. We all know that. It helps benefit your mood. It decreases your anxiety, and obviously there's other physiological benefits. Water sports, and I'd be curious if either of you have an opinion on this, water sports have not been studied nearly as extensively as just general exercise. But the studies that have been done in this particular article reference this. They do show reduction in mental disorder symptoms. And part of the reason for that is buoyancy, which I find really fascinating. There's something about buoyancy in the water, having that feeling of weightlessness in your body that releases endorphins and helps decrease mental health stress and symptoms. I bring that up because Sally referenced this, challenged by choice. And so I want to go back to John here, because before we began recording, John was kind enough to share with us a little bit about his own mental health history and struggles with PTSD. And something that John had said before we hit the record button, which is why I made a special note when I said challenges as part of the mission statement for TRR. Something that John said is he was looking for ways to challenge himself as he was struggling with PTSD. So, not to put too much on you, John, but I would really enjoy hearing about your experience of finding comfort in challenging yourself.
It's like when I had that feeling when I was climbing up Victory Tower in basic training. I was like, I knew I can do it. I'm scared a little bit, but once I get to the top, I feel like I can do anything. And once I got up there and I was looking over everybody down, I was like, man, I made it. I can do it. And when I got out on the river for that first time, like especially doing whitewater, and I was scared at first, very apprehensive. And I had some more experienced paddlers with me that were letting me know at the time that I was going to be good once we got on the water, and I was. And I challenged myself. So after that, I was like, man, I kind of got that same feeling that when I was on Victory Tower, and when I was looking over at everybody. So when I got off the river, I stood on the biggest rock, and I looked over the water, and I was like, I can do this. Yeah, I can do it.
The limit that you had previously thought that you had mentally, physically, whatever it was, you demolished that limit. You demolished that barrier.
Yes.
You discovered a new part of yourself, it sounds like.
Yes.
It brings freedom, too, because now you have the freedom that you know you can do it, and it gives you the latitude to keep doing it and maybe push another boundary.
And achieve more.
The interesting thing about it, it seems, I had read some research, too, about how the human brain needs newness. Sure. We need new experiences. We need play. We need fun. And if you see a bunch of whitewater boaters get on the river together, we're all kind of warming up. We're surfing waves. We're cutting in and out of eddies. We're playing leapfrog. I would say, John and I and another friend have done that. I'm like, do the weirdest route through this rapid, and I'll see if I can follow you. and then we get to the bottom. It's like, I did that, and or you didn't, and then we get to cheer each other on and figure it out. And there are very few other places that we get that in our lives. And I know with my PTSD that part of it was some people get reticent to take on challenges as a reaction. I got numb to what was good fear. And when I started whitewater, I overboated my skills often.
Taking risk.
Yeah, and I had too many out-of-boat experiences. And, you get kind of bruised. And then I became more mindful and aware of myself and intentional about what risk to take and not. And that was a different kind of PTSD healing.
Do you feel as though, this just kind of occurred to me as you were mentioning that, Sally, do you feel as though there is a unique benefit to aquatic sports, paddling, whatever it is, a unique benefit to being in the water because you don't actually have to do something at every second while you're participating in that sport in order to keep moving or to keep staying afloat, for lack of a better term? Do you feel there's a certain benefit to being in the water in terms of healing process?
I can only speak for myself. I would say yes. I mean, I've been on the river a lot and looked up and said, I can't believe I get to be here. Yeah. This is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And usually whitewater, it's rock and roll, game on, focus, and then you get to a still point. Sure. And you get to just, cut up and talk to your friends and celebrate that you did that, and then strategize, the next rapid. And so it's not constant game on. Yeah. You get that. The other thing about whitewater, too, that I think is unique is water is way more powerful than we are. And sure. And so we can't, if you think you're going to muscle through it or, blast through it, you're wrong every time. Yeah.
Kind of mirrors life almost. Mm-hmm. You get those highs, you get those tough times, those serene times, collaborative times. I've had the pleasure, in fact, I wasn't supposed to have the pleasure, but I did have the pleasure as a 15-year-old of doing Class 5 river rafting in Alaska when I lived there with two of my uncles. And, it was one of the most exhilarating experiences. It was a lot of teamwork, even with the other people on the boat that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. You had to quickly learn how to work as a team. Sure. And listen to someone calling out commands. The reason why I mention that is one of the things that I learned in that experience is that that particular class of rafting is very unforgiving. And it takes a lot of experience to call out commands and less experience to listen to them. But you have to be able to quickly adapt and overcome because there are so many things going on around you. But one of the things that I can picture in my mind that was there the entire time is that we had a kayaker with us that was going ahead of us to scope stuff out and then would paddle back to let us know what was going on. And then we would stop and we would look at big obstacles. And so just like Sally said a minute ago, there are so many kind of nuances that reflect and mirror life that you can learn from that. As a young 15-year-old, all I was thinking of was it's cool that I get to be here when I'm not supposed to be, but so I have some appreciation for it. I've never kayaked like that before, but I've been on a Class 5 boat before, or a Class 5 rapid before in a boat where there's some people I didn't know. And there's some people I did know, and you got to trust each other because, one wrong move, you're all out of the boat, feet down the river. So
I think, I hope what I said earlier made sense. I think of sports like hiking, people who do marathons. in those particular cases, if you stop moving your legs, you stop. Whereas with paddle sports, like with Jason, you're going down the river whether you like it or not. But with just like lake paddling and lake kayaking, there is a certain motion that the water will give you. Whether you like it or not, you are probably going to continue moving. You're going to be in continuous motion. And so what I find sort of relaxing about that, because I've gotten to kayak before and I love it, is even when you're tired, even when you're beat, even when you feel like you can't go any further, the water will carry you. It won't be much, especially for a big guy like me. It won't be much, but it will carry you further, whether you're moving or whether you're paddling or not, which I like that aspect of it.
A lot of kayakers, when they can't get access to water, like to mountain bike or ski or snowboard.
Sure.
And they all three have that momentum.
Yes, exactly. That's a great word.
That's a great point. Yep.
Yes. And that's exactly the point I was trying to make. So thank you for putting in that word. John, I want to go back to you just briefly because I think it's worth talking about this. It sounds like you had a road to recovery in some ways through TRR. When you look back at your Army experience and when you look back at the challenges that you faced and also the feeling of misunderstanding from some of your teammates, it sounds like, how does it make you feel now looking back?
I've grown a lot. I've learned a lot. I feel like the Army was a part of my old family, which is still part of my family, but this is a part of my new family.
Interesting.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So if I understand correctly, there's still good things and good memories from your old family.
Definitely.
But it is something in the past.
Yes.
And you're enjoying your new family.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. My new family is a lot more healing and a lot
Good.
more calm about things.
I'm really happy to hear that, John.
Thank you.
Well, I want to give the opportunity because Sally had reminded us that, and John said it as well, this is a team effort. You guys are part of a team that makes the St. Louis chapter so successful. So we'd love to hear about your partners.
The Jared Burke Foundation, the Robert Wake Foundation, Sisters in Service.
The Jefferson Barracks VA, the Alpine Shop.
Yes.
They have some of their staff come out to our events, and they also teach lessons, so they have boats that they work with us. And there are 3 other major paddling clubs in the St. Louis area, and we collaborate with them as much as we can. Missouri Whitewater Association, St. Louis Canoe and Kayak Club, and the Mississippi River Water Trails Association. We all have little uniquenesses and similarities. We've been partnering more and more with Team Red, White, and Blue. They often attract more currently serving folk and younger folk and
Gotcha.
recently completed service folk.
Gotcha.
So it's ideal to have the whole age mix, and we're collaborating that way. Examples of how we collaborate is veterans organizations. We often say, could you distribute our flyers? Or can you let us come talk at one of your meetings to invite your participants to join us? Or John and I will come and you organize your veterans and we'll take them on the water for a one-shot experience and invite them to come join our team as well. Or some VFWs, and we say collaborate on an event. They have made lunch, barbecued burgers while we're out on the water all day. Or they've written us a check. All of it is fantastic and needed.
I was going to ask, I'm glad you gave me that lead in. For people listening to this episode, people who want to be part of your mission, how can people contribute to TRR St. Louis?
Time, talent, and treasure.
Love it.
So show up. You don't have to like paddling or not. There's always something to do. help people get their gear on, shuttle cars, help carry boats for somebody who that would be a challenge.
Sure.
Come just be nice to people who it's a big deal that they've come to the event.
Yeah.
Help with snacks and food. And we are doing more and more fundraisers. So we hope to do a trivia night. That'll require a lot of hands.
Yeah.
And we don't want to just lean on the inner circle.
Sure.
So we need to cast a bigger net of volunteers. What
You
else?
can look on our Facebook to see our link to our chapter funds to donate to. So,
Good.
Yes.
Are there any particular events happening in the second half of the year that we should be sure to mention?
May and June, what happens is with the rain-fed waters,
Sure.
the water levels start subsiding, and there's, the rivers kind of dry up. They're
Yeah.
bony. You scrape in late in the year.
I see.
We still every fourth Tuesday we will always do lake paddles
Okay.
with the VA. So people, yes, okay, thanks. Come
Gotcha.
join our lake paddles.
There we go. Yeah.
For usually
Tuesday.
fourth Tuesday of the month in the morning, because that is in collaboration with the VA crew, and they're doing things during their work hours. And we often do float trips that we will post on our webpage and our Facebook page and through our e-newsletter if folks would want to sign up for that.
I was going to ask about your reach. You just mentioned float trips, which is perfect because that's kind of what my mind was on. For someone, if someone's listening to this and they think, well, where am I going to paddle in St. Louis? Help educate them as to the expansiveness of your reach in terms of organization.
Oh, do you want to start listing places you've led?
Yes, we have so many places we can go. We have Creve Coeur Lake. We have many spots on the Merrimack River. We have the Big River located not too far away from St. Louis. We have the St. Francis River, which we do whitewater on, and we have a whitewater championship coming up not too long. Also, a bunch of lakes.
Simpson Lake we use a lot.
Simpson Lake.
We all go over to Lake Carlisle in Illinois. Is that one you've been to?
We have,
Yeah.
Okay.
and usually once a year.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And through partnership with the Mississippi River Water Trails, we have been taking people more on the Missouri and the Illinois and the Mississippi
Yeah.
sections. We don't go like down at the arch
Sure, yeah.
with the barges on your first time out. I mean, get some experience and
Yeah.
sure. But there are parts of the Mississippi that are almost like an inner slough or something that almost feel lake-like.
Wow.
So safe,
That's so
so
cool.
easy.
Yeah.
With carp.
Lots of carp.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like being my instructor self, trying to, say, and this is how you do this, and instill confidence. And then some carp
Yep.
jumped and hit me upside the arm. Really, I squealed like a little girl.
Is that why they called you bait?
I lost my cool. I totally lost my cool.
That's great.
Before we close, Sally has already shared one really impactful story, but I don't want to miss the opportunity for them to give another impactful story, both John and Sally, before we close. So I'd like to start with Sally. If you have another one that you'd like to share and feel comfortable sharing, we'd love to hear about another really impactful story through your work with TRR.
We have an event that the Wake Foundation funds us to go to stay at a fishing lodge in Mountain Home, Arkansas for a full weekend. It's always in late May. And one year we went, I mentioned HD Key. It was the first regional event that she went to, and she was unaware that we supported paddlers with disabilities. And one of the first things that we asked her, she was here, I said, hey, can you help carry, we have this paddler with paralysis who uses a wheelchair. We're just going to ask him to sit in his boat, and the 6 of us are going to carry him in the boat down to the water because it's too rocky and weird. And she's like, I had no idea that folks with paralysis would
Could even do
paddle.
that.
Yeah. And so I love that story of just she was surprised, and we went on.
And impressed, sounds like, as well.
On that same trip, we were all paddling and having a relaxing time. And then some fireworks went off, and it did sound like gunshot, artillery. And people started having some feelings about it,
Sure.
and then somebody started cutting up some jokes and then made it humorous, and really just like how the whole group responded to these sounds that were
Potentially traumatic.
triggering.
Yeah.
When you had gotten yourself in a relaxed state,
Yeah.
and then suddenly this intrusion of sound, and how everybody rallied around each other, being silly and or just one guy felt more reactive than others, and I said, "Hey, can I just paddle next to you for a while?" And he says, "Yeah, that'd be good." So it's just lots of little opportunities like that of just loving on each other in a way that we often don't let ourselves be vulnerable enough to do.
And the community building as well.
Right.
Thanks for sharing that, Sally. Yeah. John, is there, and it doesn't have to be veteran specific, but is there a particular story that you feel really encapsulates your experience with TRR and the worthwhileness of TRR?
Yes. In 2025, I had the opportunity to go to Sacramento, California for an adaptive sports clinic held on by National Team River Runner. And we learned a bunch of different ways to facilitate disabled paddlers getting in their kayaks, meaning like if someone needed like hand hooks because they don't have a good grip for their hand holds or something like that. So after that clinic, probably like a month later, I went out to the Trout Lodge in Potosi, Missouri, and at that weekend, another one of our instructors within Team River Runner and I got to help out a bunch of spinal cord injured veterans, and that like it made my world just to be able to see the difference starting and finishing that weekend, and the smiles that they had on their faces being on the water, like, oh man, like it just did something to me. Like it's hard to even explain it. It was just a feel good moment.
That Trout Lodge event is put on by the staff at Jefferson Barracks Hospital in the Spinal Cord Injury Unit, and it's a weekend where they hope to expose their clients and the clients' families to as many sports as possible. And they always ask Team River Runner to come out with boats and to do the kayak instruction, and it's amazing.
Yeah, shouts out to Matt for inviting me. So if you hear this, Matt, man, you're great.
Something I wanted to mention, it just occurred to me as well. I just want to thank both of you, Sally and John, for being part of an organization that probably for a lot of veterans acts as a gateway to VA care.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Do you experience that?
I have heard many conversations of where one veteran says, I had this negative experience with the VA and I'm not going back. And another person, and often these conversations while we're floating down a gentle river, they said, oh no, I got great service. I went to this site, or I got this need met, or these resources. And, it's people sharing their experiences opens up a new possibility.
Yeah. I really appreciate you guys being part of an organization that fills that need. And the last thing I'll say, I'll pass it back to Jason. St. Louis needs more people like you, Sally and John. We're so appreciative of your service. We're so appreciative of your spirit of service. And we just want to encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing. Keep on floating. And top and bait, you guys are fantastic. We appreciate I had to do it. But I so appreciate you guys being here. And I appreciate the courage it took, because you haven't done something like this before.
Yeah.
I appreciate the courage it took for you guys to sit down with Jason and me and be so kind and generous with your time. So thank you both very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Ethan, for that perspective there. You know, one thing that insight that I'd like to give again is that it takes a village, right? And these guys are community leaders. They've given back for many years. John gave specifically that blank check, and he's still giving back to the community. And John and Sally, thank you so much for your continued service to the people that are part of Team River Runner, our veterans specifically, and the greater St. Louis area. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and sign off of the Operation Inside podcast from the Mid-America Veterans Museum.
Operation Insight is brought to you by the Mid-America Veterans Museum, where we believe every veteran has a story. If you agree and you enjoyed today's podcast, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and leave a review on whichever platform you listen. Don't forget, sharing this episode with friends and family is a great way to support the museum and our mission of sharing veteran stories. Thank you for listening.